Archaeology is a pretty fascinating field that has always captured the imagination and curiosity of people around the globe. From the tomb of King Tutankhamun to Stonehenge, these ancient discoveries fascinate us with their enigmatic history and remarkable complexity. However, some discoveries from the ancient world still puzzle scientists and historians, inspiring crazy theories and speculation. Let's explore 15 of the most mysterious discoveries that we can't fully explain. Number 15, the Alaska artifact. In 2011, archaeologists weren't looking for treasure. They were studying prehistoric climate change in a 1,000-year-old Eskimo settlement in Cape Espenberg. But what they found buried beneath the ice blew their minds. A small bronze object, shaped like a belt buckle, unlike anything ever found in the region. And it's way older than the house it was discovered in. The artifact, made in a mold, is the only known piece of ancient cast bronze ever found in Alaska. That alone raises red flags. Bronze wasn't worked anywhere in the region at the time. Even more mysterious, it had a leather strap still attached. Radiocarbon dating pinned the leather to around AD 600, but that doesn't necessarily match the metal's actual age. The best guess? It was likely crafted somewhere in East Asia and made its way across continents through trade, eventually reaching the Inupiat Eskimos, who saw it as a valuable heirloom. What was it used for? No one knows. What it confirms? Ancient trade networks stretched way farther than we ever imagined. Number 14, the Jordan Wall. In 1948, a British diplomat flying over Jordan saw something strange, a 150-kilometer-long wall slicing across the landscape. That discovery led to one of archaeology's biggest lingering mysteries. No one knows who built it, why, and what it is supposed to do. Named Khat Shabib, the wall runs north-northeast to south-southwest, with 100 small towers along its length and multiple branching sections. If it was meant to be a defensive wall, it failed miserably. It's only about 1 meter high and 50 centimeters wide, way too small to keep out invading forces. What it does separate, however, is agricultural land on the west side and open terrain on the east, suggesting it might have been used to divide farmers from nomadic herders. As for its age, that's another dead end. The only way to date it is through pottery fragments found near the wall, which range anywhere from 312 BC to AD 750, a gap of over 1,000 years. No records mention its construction, no civilization has claimed responsibility, and its exact purpose remains buried in time. Number 13, mystery coins. At first, nobody cared. In 2016, a group of archaeologists digging at Katsuren Castle in Okinawa, Japan, found 10 dirty old coins. They assumed they were worthless, probably discarded pennies from US soldiers stationed on the island. But when they cleaned them, that's when things got weird. These coins weren't modern at all. They were ancient, minted between AD 300 and 400. And not just ancient, Roman. The discovery was so baffling that experts first thought it was a hoax. What the hell were Roman coins doing in a Japanese castle built over 1,000 years later? After ruling out forgery, researchers scanned the coins and confirmed genuine Roman figures and inscriptions. But here's the problem. There's no known historical link between the Roman Empire and medieval Japan. East Asian traders didn't even use Roman currency. So how did these coins get to Okinawa? Well, we say just one thing. No one knows, but their existence just rewrote what we thought we knew about ancient trade. Number 12, the Danish spirals. For most metal detector hobbyists, the biggest find of the day is an old soda can. But for two lucky amateurs in Denmark, they struck gold. At first, they uncovered 4 large gold rings. That alone was enough to get archaeologists interested. But when experts took over, they didn't just find more gold. They found 2,000 gold spirals, each as thin as a human hair and about an inch long. This wasn't just a random stash. These spirals had been carefully buried inside fur-lined wooden fragments, likely stored in a luxurious box. Dated to 700 to 900 BC, the spirals came from the Bronze Age, but nobody knows what they were actually used for. Some think they were ritual offerings buried as a sacrifice. Others suggest they were once woven into royal clothing. Either way, finding 2,000 gold spirals in a single cache, that's not just treasured. That's a lost piece of history. Number 11, the riddled jar. A clay jar shattered into 180 pieces, gets reconstructed, and then turns out to be the most confusing artifact in the museum. There was just a tiny problem. The damn thing is full of holes. You can't store food or water or even use it as a lamp because there's a hole at the bottom too. It doesn't match any known container for animals either. Basically, it's useless, at least by any logic we understand. Experts at the Museum of Ontario Archaeology turned to Roman pottery specialists, hoping for an answer, but they had never seen anything like it. That's not even the weirdest part. Nobody knows how the jar got to the museum in the first place. Some believe it was unearthed from a World War II bomb crater in London, where Roman settlements existed 1,800 years ago. But the same storage room also held artifacts from ancient Ur, a 5,000-year-old Mesopotamian city. So, is it Roman? Is it Mesopotamian? Or a mix of both? No one has a clue. Number 10. Tongue of Stone. In 1991, archaeologists excavating a 3rd or 4th century burial site in Northamptonshire discovered something unsettling. Out of 35 skeletons, only one was buried face down, already a sign that the person wasn't exactly beloved in life. But what made this grave historic was what they found inside his mouth. His tongue had been cut out and replaced with a flat stone. The bone structure around the mouth showed clear signs of infection, meaning the tongue removal wasn't post-mortem. It happened while he was alive. But here's the problem. There's zero record of this practice anywhere in Roman Britain or beyond. Was it a punishment? A form of ritualistic mutilation? Maybe an attempt to complete the man in the afterlife, or, darker still, a way to keep him from ever being whole again. Roman Britain graves have had odd replacements before, missing heads swapped with pots or stones, but this is the only known case of a stone replacing a tongue. Number 9. The Karakiz Lions. In 2001, a local from Karakiz, Turkey, tipped off archaeologists about something strange in an old quarry. When they arrived, they found a life-sized granite lion. But something was off. The statue had once been attached to a second lion, but looters, hoping to find hidden treasure inside, blew it apart with dynamite. What survived was 3,200 years old, dating back to the mighty Hittite Empire, a civilization that ruled the region when Asiatic lions still roamed the land. Then another massive lion statue was discovered nearby. This one, carved by a different artist, had also been dynamited. Both statues originally weighed 5 tons each. But here's the question: why? Carving something this massive takes insane effort. Transporting them over long distances? Even worse. One theory suggests they were part of a sacred water monument, since the Hittites revered springs. But so far, no nearby Hittite settlement has been found that matches their age. Number 8. The Missing Residents. It's not every day you find an entire civilization that simply vanished. Yet that's exactly what happened to the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's most advanced societies 4,500 years ago. These were the people behind the sprawling cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro in what is now Pakistan. They thrived for over 1,000 years, trading with Mesopotamia and boasting an urban design so sophisticated it would put some modern cities to shame. Mohenjo-Daro had structured streets, proper drainage, and even indoor baths in almost every home. They had standardized tools and pottery, yet no evidence of kings or temples. which is rare for a major ancient civilization. Then, they disappeared. No massive war, no plague, just silence. The trade hubs crumbled and their cities were abandoned. Was it climate change, a catastrophic flood, an invasion? We still have no definitive answers. But whatever happened, it was badly sad. Number 7. The Newton Stone. Scotland is no stranger to mystical standing stones, but the Newton Stone is in a league of its own. Found in Aberdeenshire, it's a serpent-marked monolith covered in strange carvings. One side is decorated with symbols, possibly flowers, possibly something else, but it's the back that has baffled historians for centuries. 6 lines of text are etched into the stone. The first part appears to be Ogham, an ancient Celtic script, but the other is just completely untranslatable. Linguists have tried to connect it to Latin, ancient Greek, and even Slavic dialects, but none fit. Some think it's Pictish, a lost language spoken in Scotland and northern England. Others believe it could be a Roman or Greek hybrid, left behind by early traders or settlers. What does it say? A warning? A religious text? A name? No one knows. The Newton Stone remains one of Scotland's biggest linguistic mysteries, and we might never crack its code. Number 6. The Golan Structure. The Middle East is filled with ancient ruins, but one of its weirdest structures went unnoticed until 1967. From the ground, it's just a pile of basalt rocks, but from the air, it's 5 massive concentric circles, almost like an ancient labyrinth. The outermost ring stretches a staggering 500 feet across. Archaeologists estimate it was built around 3,500 BC, making it a contemporary of Stonehenge. But unlike Stonehenge, nobody knows why it was built or who made it. At its center is a burial chamber, but this wasn't just a tomb. The site's layout aligns perfectly with the solstices, hinting at an astronomical purpose. With over 40,000 tons of stone stacked over 2 millennia, this wasn't a casual project. Someone, or multiple generations, invested heavily in building it. But why? A religious site? An observatory? A forgotten civilization's masterpiece? The builders left behind no written records, so we may never know. All right now, let's move to Number 5. Judaculla Rock. Tucked in the mountains of western North Carolina, Judaculla Rock has been puzzling archaeologists and Cherokee locals alike. According to legend, the markings on the stone were left by Judaculla, a giant who could leap from mountain to mountain. Supposedly, when he landed, his 7-fingered hand pressed into the boulder, leaving a permanent imprint. Sounds like a cool myth, but here's the twist. The markings are real, and archaeologists can't explain them. They aren't random scratches. They're deliberate carvings, symbols, circles, and patterns thousands of years old. Dating suggests the site is at least 3,000 years old, meaning it predates the Cherokee, who still consider it sacred. Time and weather have started to erase the carvings, but older photographs reveal they were once much sharper and more intricate. Some believe they were maps or star charts. Others? They think Judaculla might have been more than just a legend. Number 4. The Skulls of Motala. If ancient stones aren't creepy enough, let's talk about ancient skulls on stakes. In Sweden, near the city of Motala, archaeologists found something straight out of a Dracula, an 8,000-year-old mass burial site where human skulls were arranged on wooden stakes. At least 11 skulls were discovered, belonging to men, women, children, and even babies. Mixed in were animal bones, which suggests some kind of ritual sacrifice. But here's where things get weirder. Some of the skulls weren't just impaled, they had pieces of other skulls stuffed inside them. In 2018, researchers announced another chilling discovery. Almost every skull showed signs of repeated injuries, but they had healed. Meaning? These people weren't killed by blunt force trauma. They survived whatever was happening to them. Was this part of an initiation ritual? A religious practice? A prehistoric warning to enemies? No one knows, and at 8,000 years old, we may never get the full story. Number 3. The Jerusalem Verses. In the heart of Jerusalem, an underground stronghold hides one of the strangest markings ever found. 3 perfectly V-shaped furrows cut into solid limestone. Just look at them. Discovered in a chamber molded from the city's oldest bedrock, these V's measure 50 centimeters long and 5 centimeters deep. Their purpose? A complete mystery. Pottery fragments suggest the site was used until around 800 BC, but the carvings could be much older. The chamber itself was built around Jerusalem's only natural spring, a location of huge strategic and spiritual importance. Another chamber nearby held a standing stone with strange markings, possibly linked to a lost pagan ritual, making it the only one of its kind ever found in Jerusalem. The biggest twist? A 100-year-old map created by a British explorer shows another V-shaped symbol in a tunnel nearby, a tunnel that, to this day, remains unexplored. What's hidden there? No one knows. Number 2. Pit of Arms. Finding a pit full of severed arms is disturbing enough. But in Bergheim, France, archaeologists uncovered something even stranger. A pile of dismembered human arms, buried beneath intact bodies. The arms, mostly from adults, were hacked off and discarded immediately after removal. Who these people were and why this happened is completely unknown. Dating back to the late Neolithic period, this gruesome find is the only known case of mass limb amputation from that time. There are no records of similar burial practices or punishment methods in ancient Europe. The leading theory? It could have been an act of war, possibly a brutal display after battle. But if that were the case, why were the intact bodies buried on top? Some believe it was a ritual. Others think it was something even darker. Over 7,000 years later, the mystery remains. Number 1. Cursed, stolen amethyst. Colonialism stole countless artifacts from their rightful homes. But what if one fought back? That's the legend of the Kanpur amethyst, a gemstone that reportedly destroyed the lives of everyone who owned it. The curse started when the amethyst was looted from a temple in India. Its first known owner suffered a sudden downfall. Every new keeper met disaster. One lost their fortune, another took their own life, and yet another lost their ability to speak. Eventually, the gemstone landed in the hands of Edward Heron Allen, a British writer and scientist. Desperate to escape its grip, he threw it into a canal, but somehow it came back to him. Terrified, he had it sealed away, demanding it never be touched again. Today, it sits locked inside the Natural History Museum in London. But even now, some refuse to go near it, just in case the curse is real. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon.